Desmond Mason in studio.
What's up?
It has been a while.
That's the big story of the day.
That is the big story of the day. And comes in bearing gifts, Starbucks for me and for Todd and for himself. Thank you very much for
My
that.
fellow colleagues.
That's right. I appreciate it here.
You were doing all these skinny orders. They probably thought you were ordering for a bunch of 20-year-old girls.
Yeah, a bunch of hipsters.
I'm going to have a skinny frappuccino.
Two guys that combined for 700 pounds are going to order 2 skinny drinks. It's fantastic. All right, so where do you want to start? Because it's been a while.
I was listening to you guys on the.
I know. I'd say I saw
the
you
whole
get
Bo Ryan situation.
Todd, he was texting me. He was getting a little fired up.
I was in my car. I was fired up last night listening to that dude do that post game. And are you kidding me?
Oh, Bo Ryan.
Man.
So you were upset about it too then?
Yeah. And I'm not going to even say classless. It's funny that good coaches always say no excuses. There's no excuses. I mean, you can't blame anything on anybody. If you want to go back and look through it, how many turnovers did you have? How many times did you give up an offensive rebound? How many bad shots did you take? So there's no excuses. It all balances itself out. But for him to say that, just to kind of, I'm sitting there listening to him do that interview, and I'm like, wow, he's using the referees as a scapegoat. You got beat. You got some bad calls too. But at the end of the day, it's the finals. The game is supposed to be physical. It happens like that in the NBA. Early in the season, everybody's feeling it out. You know, the games are a little bit more loose. Some are tight calls, some are not. But when you get to the finals, in the playoffs, in the NCAA tournament, the games are physical. They should be. That's the way they are. They're the best teams in the country. Don't get in the championship game and make excuses. You got beat.
We've had Lon Kruger on the show before, and Zach and I have talked about this. One of Lon Kruger's things is he always says, hey, there's got to be more freedom of movement in college basketball, on and off the ball. We've got to bring back the rules to change freedom of movement. But when you say that right after you get beat, if Lon Kruger were to say that exact same thing that he said to you and I, Zach, right after OU got knocked out of the tournament by Michigan State, it would sound like sour grapes.
Yeah.
So for Bo Ryan, if he feels like the officiating's an issue, that's fine. And I was playing devil's advocate with Zach earlier, you know. Because Zach always says, we want to hear how these guys really feel.
I can, look, if you want to call me a hypocrite in that spot, I'm all right with it.
But if Bo Ryan a week from now says, hey, we got to figure out officiating, it doesn't sound as bad.
I have no problem with it. Even if he did it today, I have far less of a problem with it. But you just got beat. And I know it's not easy to do. I'm sure you've been in that situation, Desmond, where after a game, you are pissed off at the world. And I'm sure you had it in you to go, okay, I better not say it. Probably a lot of that was money related. Like, I don't want to get fined. But you can't, it's conduct unbecoming when it's A, a national championship game, and B, you kind of have a history of it.
He's an old school coach. He's an old school coach. He's been around the block. The game was much more physical years ago. Much more physical years ago. Like, you can't get into the game now and you get into the finals and you're playing against Duke and all of a sudden you want to blame it on the referees calling whatever call that you felt like you didn't agree with.
Was it much more physical years ago?
It was more physical. Even the NBA was the same way. In college sports and the NBA, you can touch and hold and grab. Much more physical.
Yeah.
Much more physical than it is today. Now a guy cuts across the lane and you bump into him, he flails his head back. It's a foul. And back in the day, that wasn't a foul.
Yeah, it's weird. It's gone in cycles because you go watch stuff from the 70s and 80s and even maybe into the early 90s, not very physical. And then you get into, like, the bad boy Pistons really kind of started the trend, I think. And then the 90s, and now you got coaches that grew up watching the bad boy Pistons, and that's what people are teaching now is to be physical. The NBA, I think, is way less physical than the college game. NBA, everything's called now.
Yeah, it is. And I'd say another big one for me is listening to him do these interviews just really irked me, man. They rubbed me the wrong way. When he's like, well, we got kids in practice, and when they jump into a player, we call it an offensive foul. Now let his player pump fake a guy and get in the air and jump into him, and they don't call a foul and watch how he responds. It's only situational. If he wins the game, he says nothing about the referees. He loses. He got beat. And so he decides he wants to find the out and say, well, this is the most physical game that my kids have played all year. It should be. It's the NCAA Championship. It should be the most physical game. You're fighting for your life. So it should be a physical game. Don't use the referees as your out. You got beat. Every call wasn't right, but they got a lot of them right. Your guys turn the ball over. Your guys give up offensive rebounds. Your guys give up open layups. Your guys give up open jump shots. They miss shots. You got beat, period.
He's on a rant this morning. I love it.
Those guys got.
I love it.
It killed me to hear him say that.
See, here's where I'm at, because I'm with both of you guys. I think it was the wrong time to say it. It was the wrong way to say it. But I also agree with Bo Ryan that officiating is a big problem in college basketball. I just don't think the timing was right when he said it right after he lost. And even though he didn't come out and say, I blame this loss on the officiating, that's how it came off, for sure.
Well, listen, coaching is a big problem in college basketball.
No doubt.
Some coaches suck.
No doubt.
To referee a game is really hard. It's a hard job to do. The game is moving so fast. Players are getting more crafty. Guys are getting more athletic. So, again, you can always pick and choose what you're going to lash out at when you're on the bad side of the coin. But at the end of the day, we can complain about referee in every single sport across the board. And everybody will. Fans will, coaches will, players will. Everybody's going to complain because they don't all get it their way. It doesn't always go your way. So when it doesn't go your way, you complain. It's just like if a guy doesn't get a shot. He felt like he should have got that shot, and he didn't get a shot. So what does he do? He complains about the offense. Like, that's just sports in general. But when it's all said and done, the referees, as I learned in the NBA, and I never complained, but I would go to them and say, I don't know about that call. And they would check it. But at the beginning of every single season, they would come in and show us film of play calls throughout the course of the year, controversial play calls. The refs will. Right. And they would talk about the new rules. And all those calls that we complained about as players, they were right. When you slow it down and you look at it, they were right.
Desmond Mason in studio with us on 107.7 The Franchise. All right, now let's
Bo Ryan.
I mean, we'll get to the Thunder. I know a lot of people want to hear about the Thunder, but look, Desmond's hot. He's hot right now. You got to feed the hot hand.
Hot right now.
You got to feed the hot hand. All right, so let's do Andrew Harrison. Let's play Ask the Black Man. Andrew Harrison with he. If you all missed it, I guess you're living under a rock. But he said on Saturday after the game where Wisconsin and Frank Kaminsky beat Kentucky, Andrew Harrison, the Kentucky player, under his breath, while a question about Frank Kaminsky was directed towards one of his teammates at the podium, under his breath he came away from the microphone and he said, bleep that N-word. And I don't know how you took it. You might be in the we haven't talked about this beforehand, so you may take it a different direction. But for those of you who didn't know how I took it or how Todd took it, I think Todd was mostly in my corner on this. I think it's a non-issue and double standard. Yes, and it's still a non-issue, like at least to me.
Yeah.
So what say you?
I mean, again, it just. Things like that shouldn't be said, by anyone. It shouldn't be said. Doesn't matter the situation, because it is. It's a double standard. I just don't think it should be said. Now, to be completely transparent, it's not like I haven't said it before, but I've said it in, when I go back home to my neighborhood and I'm with my buddies and, blah, blah, or I sing a song and I'm singing a song. Yeah, I mean, that's pure honesty. But in the big scheme of things and being a realist, no, it should not be said. It's definitely a double standard. And, if you don't want it said in the general public, don't say it in the general public at all, period. So, again, if we want to talk about what's more classless, it will be that. That's just something. I don't care how old you are, I mean, right from wrong.
Well, I bet if we were being honest again, you probably said it more when you were 19 than you do now at whatever, 28 or 29, whatever you are now.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you that
28 or 29.
You are absolutely right.
I didn't want to guess high, so guess low on purpose.
Well, you're about 10
He's
years.
our age,
You're
Todd.
about 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's good, though. I like that. But no, when I was young, I did. But I'll say this. I knew it was just as wrong then as I know it is now. But now I just make a conscious decision to not say it. Then I kind of didn't care. But I still knew it was not right to say, period. So,
what do you make of back to Bo Ryan? But this will kind of, I think it might migrate. It might be a good transition into migrating towards some NBA talk here. Bo Ryan wasn't done with the officiating. Like, he didn't stop at just officiating, which this is the other problem I've got with Bo Ryan last night, is that after the game, not only did he bang on the officials, but he also banged on the style of recruiting that wins Coach Krzyzewski a national championship. Here was Bo Ryan's cut right here. Pot us up here, Todd. Here, listen to this.
Every player that's played through the program, okay? We don't do a rent-a player. You know what I mean? Try to take a fifth-year guy or whatever, and that's okay. If other people do that, that's great. I like trying to build from within. It's just the way I am.
Do you, just the kind of subtle shot at people who do the one and dones, the fifth-year players, etc.
Bo Ryan, do you quit worrying about everybody else? Do you? I hope he's listening to 107.7 The Franchise. Close your mouth and recruit your players and go out and compete and win games. And when you lose, shake hands and walk away. Period. There's nothing else to talk about. A lot in the game today, players are playing short. You know, they are one and done, couple years and done. If you got 5 seniors, 4 seniors in your starting lineup, 5, 6 seniors on your team, awesome for you. Some of them may not be as talented enough to leave in the first and second year. But at the end of the day, awesome for you. But don't criticize everybody else and leave the referees alone. Just lose and go home. Easy.
What do you like that rule? I don't know if we've ever talked. I don't know if I've ever talked about it with you.
I'm an advocate of playing as much as you can in college. If you have the opportunity to play 2, 3, 4 years and still make the NBA, then do it. When I came out, there was a lot of upperclassmen in my draft class. I'm a huge advocate of that. I've said it from my day one in NBA, and I'll still say it today. If you can go 4 years and still go pro, you can go 3 years and still go pro. I'm an advocate of that. I just think guys that coming in 1 and 2 years, they're not ready.
Do you think, though, if you were getting calls after your freshman year, would you have gone? I mean, if they were knocking on the door, yeah, or maybe even out of high school, would you have gone?
Yeah, I mean, I just listen. You have to think about it. I mean, it's a thought process. But me and knowing my personality, I would have rather played college. And now I look back now, and I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I wouldn't. It was so much fun. But, you know, I can see that it's a hard decision, especially when you're coming from nothing. Most of these kids come from nothing, single-parent homes. They got their mom in their ear, some random uncle, their dad coming out of nowhere, brothers and sisters, and they can support these people and know they're going to get drafted. It's a really hard decision to make to go back to school.
Did you have that entourage?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I didn't. I had no entourage. I didn't do entourages.
Desmond Mason just had an easel and a canvas.
That was me, man.
By the way,
I don't need security to paint.
A blank canvas.
I don't need security to paint.
By the way, how about this? Can you pull up the sound of him on HuffingtonPost.com? I mean, just nailing it, knocking it right out of the park.
Oh yeah, I can probably find that.
That was 2 weeks ago.
While I do that, can you play the Bo Ryan clip we're talking about again with the Rena players?
Yeah.
His exact quote.
Yeah, here's Bo Ryan again on the Rena player thing, and it's subtle, not so subtle, but it's subtle. Here's Bo Ryan after the game on style of recruiting.
Every player that's played through the program, okay? We don't do a Rena player. You know what I mean? Try to take a fifth-year guy or whatever, and that's okay. If other people do that, that's great. I like trying to build from within. It's just the way I am.
Here's what he basically just said.
We're better than you, and we know it.
That's kind of.
Is that the feeling you got?
Movie.
That's kind of. What is that movie? I know I've seen that movie.
That's Ben Stiller. That's That's the
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Yes,
Dodgeball. Yes, sir.
Global Gym.
That's right. Global Gym.
I think Zach works out there, actually.
That's right.
That's where he does his yoga.
We're better than you, and we know it. I just to make sure I don't forget about it. Des was off last week, but the week prior he was with us, and he said he was going to be on HuffingtonPost.com to talk about the NCAA tournament and from college going pro, et cetera, and. We said, can you fit in just for our listeners, fit in a word, we got to fit in a phrase or something. And we've been on this Bolden Flowers kick.
Bolden Flowers.
Because it rhymes with something else. Bolden
that
Flowers.
Michael Phelps allegedly enjoys from transvestite or transsexual.
Transgenders.
This is never going away. Yeah. It's never going away.
Right. So
Or no, this wasn't a transgender. This was from the
This is from a big girl from
oversized
London.
dominatrix. That's right.
He's got a couple different little vices he likes.
No, it's not that one.
Yeah, it's not the transsexual. It's not transgender over there. It's overweight dominatrix. That's the one.
It's 250
Yes.
Shades of Grey.
We like the golden flower from the overweight dominatrix. Love that stuff. But anyway, so he said, can you mix in like a flower reference? Like just say flower. And Todd, are you able to pull it up yet?
I'm still looking for it. I think
All right.
I think I've got it here, but I'll double check.
But it is so again, he gets asked a question by the guys there, and I mean, you did it so straight faced too. It was so great. My agent told me I was kind of like a flower. And then
Just give me a sense of the pressure on guys as they get ready for the NBA draft, whether it's a senior or a freshman that wants to play big minutes. Like, how does that impact a player when he's playing the NCAA tournament, especially now we get into the later rounds, where he knows that if he plays well, he can make himself a lot more money?
The way you look at it, and this is the way we look at it, and I remember my agent told me this, it's like you look at it like a flower, especially when you're on the back end of the NCAA tournament. That's where you want to be growing. That's where you want to be blossoming. That's where you want to be finding yourself. Because when you do that,
and he kept on going too. He made a whole analogy out of it. And he's using his hands, and growing and blossoming.
Yeah, it's bolding.
Beautiful. I mean, that was so well done by you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I am so proud. All right. I'm like a proud parent. That's how I feel today. All right. So what was that going to get us into? Well, let's do this. Let's go into NBA now.
Yes.
Have you, well, let me start with Sunday. Did you go to the game Sunday?
I didn't.
Now you've been Curry for MVP, right?
I've been Curry leading, Harden second.
Has anything changed your mind recently?
I don't see how you can't give it to Steph Curry. I mean, number one team in the West. They're going to win the West. He's a phenomenal player. The way he dropped Chris Paul on that double behind the back was nasty. That might have gotten an MVP right there. Put him on a surfboard. I mean,
did he do the one earlier this year to Chris Paul
Have
too?
you seen the meme of the twister?
the twister.
He's got the twister pad underneath him.
Now, remember the one where he went behind
right hand red?
Remember the one where he went behind the back and stepped back and hit the three? Was that against Chris Paul
of the
too?
key?
No,
I don't think so.
I
can't remember who, but
this might be the sickest.
Those both of them were nasty.
He dropped that kid. I mean, I'm telling you, I thought he caught a body cramp.
Here's my deal, though.
Locked up.
How many other starters for the Warriors could people name?
I think you could probably name. You could name almost all of them, can't you?
How many other players for the Rockets could you name?
Maybe one less.
Really? Because I feel like the Rockets are doing it with a lot less.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's. I think if you take James Harden off the Rockets obviously aren't the Rockets. And I think if you take Steph Curry off Golden State, they're not Golden State. So in saying that, when you look at those things and you look at James Harden, you want to just kind of go straight scoring, he's a much better. I think he's a tougher guard. He's a tougher guard if you're going to guard somebody. But when you put all those things in perspective and you look at where the team standings are and who I feel like made the bigger jumps from year to year, I just feel like Steph Curry fits that mold better than James Harden. It's not that far apart. I think it's pretty close. James Harden did it a lot without Dwight in, but Steph Curry did a lot without their two bigs, Andrew Bogut being out and David Lee being out as well. And some other guys stepped up as well, but it's happened in Houston also. So, I mean, I'm going solely off of team standings. I mean, honestly, because I think they're that close. Yeah. And, James Harden may win it, but I'm just going off of team standings that if you win the West and you're as good as Steph Curry and you've done some similar things that James Harden have done this season, it's really hard for me to see him not getting the MVP. But if James Harden wins, I wouldn't be surprised either. It wouldn't really surprise me.
Well, I know I'm playing prisoner of the moment. I mean, and at least I'm admitting it, but my goodness. Being at that game, and maybe it was just me being at the game. I don't know if it felt the same on television or not, but being at that game, I mean, I felt like James Harden was like, yeah, this is.
See,
this
Sunday
is my
wasn't
MVP.
the tipping point for me. It was a little earlier than that, and I think too. You mentioned the standings, Desmond. I think the fact that Houston's second now has a lot to do with why James Harden's getting more play. But I'll say this: what James Harden did in the last 2 minutes of that game, he was a bad man.
I remember talking to Eric G and Joe, and they were saying that Oklahoma City was going to win, and I just told them, look for the mixer. Look for him running down the court doing the mixer. I'm like, it's going to be about 10 or 15 Euro steps in that game. James Harden going to go off. I mean, they said he may go off for 50, and he was knocking on it. I mean, the dude he's one of the toughest guards in the NBA. I mean, across the board, from point to center, I think he's like top 3.
Well, there have been some demoralizing moments of this season for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm not going to lie, that felt most demoralizing. I mean, I will, for some reason, I've got stuck in my head, and it's the reason I don't feel good. This one picture in my head, Des, I'm serious, and this is unfair, but this one picture in my head gives me less confidence in the Thunder than I've had all season. And that picture is James Harden after he's hit 2 straight shots in Thunder players' eyes, then goes toe-to-toe with Westbrook, and then he puts it in Westbrook's eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that image is stuck in my head. Like, that's 9 points in a row. And this time it was on Russ, who played pretty good defense on him. And I'm thinking, okay, this might just not be, this is not the year. Like, this is just not the altogether, this is the microcosm. It's not the year. But it's one of those years, man.
It is. And I'll tell you one thing that, a huge difference in that game, and I don't know if it's just he knows his timing well. He knows him from playing with him. I have no idea what it is and why, but when Serge is in the game, James Harden doesn't get all that stuff off at the rim. And it's not because Serge is just a good shot blocker. For some reason, it's not like maybe 1 or 2 shots here or there. I mean, it's every single time James Harden gets to the basket, Serge is always around. He's always on the shot, much more than any player in the NBA, and he's a good blocker, but I think it has a lot to do with them playing together. He knows his timing for some reason. He knows he does all that sweeping Euro stuff, but he always has an issue with Serge. And when you don't have a guy like that behind you and you have a player like Harden, what you do is you start playing off a little bit because he can get to the basket. And before you know it, he gets hot. He's got you on your heels. He's knocking down threes. He's hitting mid-range. It just makes it really hard, to guard him. But at the end of the day, man, his confidence is so high. He believes in his game so much, and he's so unorthodox. He's a tough guard. I mean, it's young Manu Ginobili kind of guard with all the weird, quirky shots he can make and moves he does. That was Manu.
Last one I got for you, and we're gonna dip into some fun stuff in the next segment. By the way, with Dez, a couple things off the board. But the last thing I got for you,
little bold and flower talk next segment.
Coming up next, what kind of flowers do we have in studio?
A dozen Boldens.
This is what would you do if you were? Todd and I had this discussion, a long discussion about this on Friday. If you were Sam Presti and the doctors came up to you and went, all right, let's say a week from right now, you got a couple games left in the season. This weekend, docs come up to you. Serge will clear him. Not 100%, but we'll clear him to play. He might have a little bit of a risk of further injury, but everybody is when they come back from a knee surgery. That's just how it is. So we'll clear him. If you're Sam Presti, you playing him?
Nope. Not even telling the media that he's cleared.
Right. And that's the way you'd have to do it.
Yeah,
like if he was cleared,
yeah,
it would never get out to the public.
Yeah, but some people would say that, hey, a guy's got Derrick Rose, Chicago, right? He's cleared to play, but Derrick Rose kind of made a decision that went back to organization, and I'm not sure. And then he took all the scrutiny as an individual player. You never mention he's cleared this late in the season. You don't play. There's no benefit to having him on the floor. If you can get to the second round without him, then maybe you consider it. But no more this season, none in the first round, just not ready. Not ready. And you're going to run against Golden State, so he's not going to run. Now, see,
you presented it differently to Desmond than you did to me.
Well, if I
you said there's a good chance he re-injures it, right? You presented it to me as there's no bigger chance he re-injures it than there would be on game one next year.
That is not how I presented
That's the
it to
way
you
I
last
took
week.
it.
Oh, well, I can promise you that's not how
My
I
deal
presented
is this: if they say,
how about if I presented it just like I presented it to him?
If
Would
they
your answer change?
say Serge Ibaka's good enough to go, but he's not 100%.
Wait a minute. The way I just presented it to him, let's all be on the same page. The way I just presented it to him, would that change your answer? Which was, look, the doctors go, look, we're going to clear him. Does he have a chance of re-injuring? Sure. That's the way it goes when you're 4 weeks, 5 weeks removed from knee surgery.
He's not 100%.
But he's not 100%.
Yeah, then you don't play him.
So that does change your answer.
Yeah.
I don't know how different I was last week.
You never said there's a chance he re-injures it and he's not 100%. You never said that. My deal is if they clear him.
Todd, I
clear
feel like
him,
that stuff's understood if he's 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks removed from surgery. I mean,
if they say to him, if they say, look, or if they say to Presti, if they say, look, could he re-injure it? Yes. But anyone could re-injure this injury.
Especially 4 or 5 weeks out from surgery. That's my point. I mean, I felt like it was understood. Of course he can re-injure it. He's just 4 or 5 weeks removed.
I guess my deal is when it gets to the point that the injury is fully healed, and maybe it can heal in 4 or 5 weeks.
Not 100%.
Well, I wouldn't think. That's the time frame they gave us.
I don't think it was
It's
the time
4 to 6
frame.
weeks.
I don't think it was the time frame for 100%.
So you're saying when they give time frames like sprained ankle, he's out 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, let's say if they say, like, if you have a knee injury and they say, okay, he's out 4 to 6 weeks, that's from basketball activity. So that doesn't mean playing games. That means reevaluation on the back end of that 4 to 6 weeks. And then from there, if they feel like he's capable of getting on the floor and start moving a little bit more, he's going to do non-contact stuff. I mean, I've been on hyperextension with my knee, and it was, okay, 4 to 6 weeks out, 5 weeks we're going to reevaluate. We're going to monitor you, and you're going to go through your treatment and rehab. And then 5 weeks or so, we're going to monitor. We're going to reevaluate and see where you stand between that 5 and 6 week mark. And then from there, you're going to start doing non-contact stuff. So at that mark, you'll start doing non-contact stuff, and they'll slowly add you into contact until they feel like you're game ready. And then they're going to monitor your minutes from that point until they feel like you're 100%.
Does your answer change, Desmond, if Serge says, I want to play? Or do you still say, no, you're not playing?
You tell them no. We all say we want to play.
Right.
Coach, I feel ready. Okay, well, do 5 defensive slides as fast as you can.
And Derrick Rose didn't say he wanted to play.
Well, you know what? And Derrick Rose and Chicago put him on blast.
I know.
Yeah, they did.
So, and Derrick Rose stood up for himself.
They handled it terribly.
Derrick Rose stood up for himself saying, I'm not ready to go, knowing that there's a possibility of him hurting himself, which had happened anyway. And Michael Redd, it happened the same thing with Michael Redd. Michael Redd, same thing. Milwaukee needed Michael Redd back on the floor. Get him back out there. What did he do? He blows it all out the next time. Killed his career.
What's weird about Derrick Rose is they've done it. They did it again this year. He got hurt again, and they said, yeah, he should be back before the playoffs are over.
They're trying to say, I'm telling you, man, teams do this, and I'll say this, they do it a lot. They make a move or something happens, and what they do is they try to cover tracks or save face. And they'll put players in a weird position sometimes. And that's a small percentage of I think in all professional sports, but in NBA, that's a small percentage of teams that would do that. But they'll put players in
where they play the PR game against their own player.
Absolutely. They'll put players in really bad, one, because they know they made a horrible decision, whether it be a horrible trade, whether it be horrible this, horrible that. They'll play a guy knowing that he stinks and he's killing the team, but they're paying him $10 million and they have to play him because they're trying to save face in the hopes that he comes out and has a great game. And then they always pump him up. Well, it all doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but this is what he did. No, he sucks. You made a bad decision. You paid him off of 3 playoff games.
They do that with Pert?
I was going to say, I just took my headphones off and put them back on. Are we talking about Kendrick Perkins again?
No, I'm telling you, I've seen Vin Baker was one, a big one, $86 million. They paid him. And they did it off of 1 playoff series. Jerome James.
Jeremy Lin.
Same thing. Jerome James. $28 million from the Knicks, and they did it off of 3 playoff games against the Sacramento Kings where he wore a trash bag over his neck because they called him trash. He's like, well, I'm not trash. And he goes out there, and what do he do? He gains another 50 pounds and never plays again. Plantar fasciitis in both feet. He's done. And he stole the money from the NBA. That's what they do, and they play it against their own player. They
Sounds
put him
like
in a bad
me
situation.
after high school, except for mine was 150 pounds and I never played again.
You know what's funny? I know Todd's got something funny coming or what he claims to be funny coming because he'll start to mess with his beard. He'll do this. He's like, I got something coming.
I'm about to get him.
Well, I have to give you the nonverbal communication.
That's good.
That's kind of like a third base coach, right?
That is, yeah.
And
That's
like
the end.
hit and run.
I'm
That's
sitting,
your hit and
so
run
I
sign.
can't grab my crotch, so I just,
That's the Andrew
rub your
Dice
chin.
Clay
He
right
rubs
there.
his beard and chin. That's our picture we're gonna have for you. I'm starting a T-shirt business at whoyougotandwhy.com.
Bowden Flowers.
That's right.
T-shirt
Bowden
number 1.
If I'm not mistaken, my Twitter profile picture is me rubbing my chin, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, look at you. It's your go-to. It's
That's
your
the Andrew
calling
Dice Clay,
card.
man.
It's not my
That's
go-to,
right.
it's my goatee.
Oh my God.
We should probably go to break on that. All right.
Oh, that's my Andrew Dice Clay right there.
Des Mason.
He's about to call me Des Bryant.
I did. I have
My
Des
pants
here.
are always up around my hips.
It's not that. It's the first name. When I use the Z in Des, I immediately
You
go
never
Des
left
Bryant.
the game early crying because you were mad at the result?
This is exactly right. I wasn't franchised recently.
Desmond Mason and this guy finished second in a golf tournament. Who was this guy? Find out next. We were talking during the break, Des and I. Remember, we got 2 paintings in here that Des has live painted on our air in this studio, and we were thinking we probably need to talk to the station about this. I'm sure they don't care, but maybe do it as a charity thing and give it away for charity. And we were thinking about maybe like we'll promote it, we'll put it all together, or maybe we can have some sort of package with it where Des will come in with his guy and live hang it for you. Maybe we'll do a wine event on top of it.
Absolutely.
And we're maybe we'll get some. Hopefully we can get somebody to supply some wine, which would be cool.
Can do that. We can definitely do that.
And make it an event where you get this piece of art on top of it. Des will come to your house and stuff. So if you guys are in on something like that, text me. I want to gauge interest here. I think it would be pretty cool. And we could. It would be our good deed. Well, really, Des is a good deed. It would be our good deed, though. Our show, this Desmond Mason
Group
show,
effort.
powered by Urban Johnny's, good deed. So,
Oh,
maybe
see,
that'd be cool.
and then I'm gonna put Urban Johnny on blast. They can bring food.
Urban Johnny on blast.
Come on, Urban Johnny, bring
That's
some food.
right.
Pull a Bo Ryan now.
I tell you what, I have their hummus all the time. That's good stuff. I watched the NCAA tournament there, a little bit of the NCAA tournament there. I love that place.
I think they would do that for us.
All right. So let's pay off the teas. Desmond Mason and this guy finished second in a golf tournament. Would you like to explain?
Yeah, I was just down in Mexico doing a little bit of work and just kind of relaxing and finding some peace and serenity. And then I'm down there and there's just some random guys playing golf. So I go out to play golf and I'm asked if I want to play in this little like 10-man blind scramble or blind match. And so basically what you do is they put everybody in groups. You play your own card, and then at the end of the round, they pair you up with that guy.
Blind pairing.
Well, my group was me, a guy named Tom Cusick, who's from San Antonio. I'm blanking on the third guy, and then George Strait. And so we were all in the same foursome, and we get about 15 holes in, and then one of my buddies come out, and he's like, well, they've already pulled the names back at the clubhouse. He's like, but you and George are paired up. And so we ended up playing the rest of the round knowing that we were partners, listening to some Drake. Every hole, when we listen to Drake, then we'll listen to some country. Then we'll listen to Drake, then we'll listen to some country. So it was fun to go through it. And then at the end, we didn't know what our scores were, but we felt like we played horrible. And we placed second. So our best score, they took the best score of each hole, and I think we shot 65 and 63 won. But it was fun, though. It was a good time.
So what kind of golfer are you?
It depends, because I don't play. I play probably 3 or 4 times a year, and I'm okay player. I'm not a good player. I'm a 13 handicap. But I can
3
play
or 4 times a year at 13 handicap.
Yeah,
pretty
I can
damn
play,
good.
I can play better. I can play probably as far as down as a 10 if I can keep it straight off the tee. I mean, or I can play up if I'm, because I swing hard. So if it's spinning just a little bit, it's gone, So if I can keep it pretty straight off the tee and I can keep it in play, then I can get down to a 10. It depends.
What were you going to say, Todd?
I was just looking up Tom Cusick to see what he did.
Tom Cusick, actually, he owns a real estate. I mean, he owns a lot of real estate. He's just a South Texas guy. he makes saddles, and he owns horses and owns some resorts. And
I just Googled Tom Cusick San Antonio, and a story came up.
That guy, the one
George Strait and Tom Cusick team up on Tapatio Springs Golf Resort.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's Tapatio. Yeah, that's one of his resorts. So.
Well, congratulations! Look at you.
He's a good. At the end of the day, like I say all of that because I just think it's fun. But with George, hands down, one of the nicest men you ever want to meet. One of the most gracious, down to earth people. So, it's not to be said to be dropping names. It's just because he's what you see in his music, what you see in his interviews, how he carries himself, himself in the public eye, is no different than how he carries himself in private.
Is he a big sports fan?
He's kind of a sports fan. He's not a huge sports fan at all. He's
how good of a golfer?
He's good. He can play. He's single digit.
Really?
Yeah, he can play.
I mean, he's no spring chicken either.
Nah, he can play. And I got one of the best things. He's like, I'm sitting there listening to rap music, and he's pulling up. He's like, I like that, Desmond. I'm like, okay, I appreciate it, George. He says, I want you to hear this though. I just cut this yesterday. And it's a song.
What, he had it on his iPod? Or his phone?
He had it on his phone, which was connected to inside of his car to the car because the car has speakers. So he just had it on, and he let me listen to it. So we listened to this song, and the song basically talks about you can go and get all your problems solved talking to a therapist and some high level blah blah blah. He's like, but a bottle of Jack only costs like $20 or something like that. So like that's kind of the basis of the song. But it was really cool to hear it.
It all comes back to alcohol.
It hadn't been heard, so it was really cool.
That is cool.
To hear. So yeah,
so you got first dibs. That stuff will be out here in like
George, I thought you
5 or 6
retired.
months.
I thought you retired from music. He was like, no, I'll never retire.
Yeah, those guys never retire.
All
man.
5, 6 of them.
That's like it's the same with like Garth Brooks and all those guys. They never retire.
They don't have to.
All right, that's the one thing. People ask me like, if you could be a celebrity in any one profession, what would it be? And I'm always like music. And people went, well, you're a big sports fan. How's it not sports? And my constant answer is, you have no one to answer to really if you're in music, right? I mean, like.
Not in today's world, you don't.
Like there is no and I'm thinking even at the highest levels, like there is no commissioner.
No.
There's no commissioner of music that's going to suspend you if you did too many drugs, or if you went out too late the night before, or you broke curfew or whatever.
Are musicians the closest in another career that are the closest, the closest to artists?
Absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, they are artists.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
But I mean, like actors too. Do you think musicians are more like artists than actors or actresses are?
I think musicians are more like artists than actors. I do. I think just the instruments to play, the awareness of their voice and the talent in their voice, the writers of the music, that thought process. I think actors take what a writer has wrote and puts a character to it. They put a personality to it. That doesn't mean they're not artists, because they are. But with musicians, simultaneously playing music and singing, and some of them are actually writing the music and performing on stage, and like having to perform on stage in front of a crowd live. Actors, they do it in kind of a isolated setting, and some of them can do it on Broadway. And
actors are almost interpreting someone else's art.
They are, absolutely. But it's a very artistic thing to take that and create a character out of it.
Right.
Now that's artistic as well, because you have to literally create another personality. I mean, you have to not become you. You have to become somebody else's thought process, and it takes a special talent to do it. I mean, it's hard to do.
I thought this was in relation to. Sorry, I'm going off the beaten path. A guy on Twitter tweets me and goes, "And boom goes the dynamite," and I'm like, "Did something just happen on our show?" And I look, it's in reply to what I said last night on Twitter. I said, "Coach K has got great players." How do you react to this, Desmond? Coach K has got great players, but kudos to the broom he used to sweep the sexual assault allegations from his player right under the rug mid-season.
Yeah, he totally did that.
That's why he's got 8 players. 8 is enough. Well, that's because you got rid of one.
That's exactly right. You didn't have a choice.
All right, we're going to play a little I Tell You What, Man. This is our favorite because this is your ultimate blank canvas. Like, we don't this is a nice way of saying say whatever you want. No, I tell you what, man. It basically, we started the sentence for you. Now you finish it. Text it to us 88474. It can be inside of sports. It can be outside of sports. 88474. Just make sure if you text us, you start with the word text and then a space and then give it to us. Or you can tweet us at Big Easy, at Todd on Franchise, at D Mason Art. We do I Tell You What, Man. Next. Desmond is laughing at his own I Tell You What, Man. He is very excited for this. All right, so
happy.
So Todd, if you're I guess it would be me. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy started here.
I tell you what, man, sometimes you just got to let the people know something random.
I like to eat ice cream, and I really enjoy a nice pair of slacks.
I tell you what, man, Bill Belichick looks a lot like my brother.
Hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like The Lord of the Rings.
Like, OMG, that's so random.
It's time for I'll Tell You What, Man.
Desmond?
Do I get to start?
Fire away.
Okay.
I tell you what, man, who knew the D-League had playoffs and that Oklahoma City Blue is playing tomorrow?
Yeah, OKC, the Blue. They're playing in the playoffs tomorrow. They just crept in too, I heard.
They did.
Yeah, they crept in.
I'll tell you what, man, Grant Jarrett's missing out.
How about if they make the playoffs and Oklahoma City doesn't?
That would be a bummer.
That's gross.
That would be a bummer. Todd?
I'll tell you what, man. Last night was the first time in my entire life that I rooted for Duke.
Wow.
I'm kind of right there with you, though.
I didn't.
Entire life. I had money on the line, though. You know that. I was in the fake money in the fake bracket pool we have here at work.
Bracket pools are fine to wager on.
Technically, they're not, but you know.
Okay, they're not. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, feel free. I
almost called you for the guaranteed happiness bet, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have won about half the money that I ended up winning.
I made one live wager. I didn't make any wager before the game because I had no good feel on it. I thought Duke was going to win, but I was too chicken to put any money on it before the game because I felt like Wisconsin was team of destiny. And then Wisconsin went up 9, and the live line during that commercial break was Duke plus 7.5, and I went ahead and took that.
Nice.
I went ahead and took that.
Nice.
I tell you what, man. This studio's air temperature
horrible
is about the max temperature with which I'm okay with the air conditioning being out. It's just, I'm at the top of comfortable right now. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what,
there's
man.
This little range where
your studio is different than my studio because LeBron would be cramping up in my studio. For sure.
Yes. I tell you what, man. Veggie chili is not chili. It's soup.
Oh,
stop lying.
Don't say that.
It's
don't
phony.
Say that.
Erroneous. It is veggie soup. It's not chili.
Chili with beans or no beans?
No beans.
Exactly.
Yeah,
chili
no
with
beans.
beans is not chili.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But wait a minute.
Veggie chili is basically soup. It's not chili.
It's vegetable soup.
It's soup.
So
just because you put chili powder in it does not make it chili.
Well, what if I put, because I get this a lot. Because people always, they're screwing with me these days about, how I'm kind of trying to be more healthy. And like, yeah, Zach McCrite's trying to be more healthy. They will say to me, they'll go, that's not real chili if I say I put turkey meat in there.
It's not chili. It's turkey soup.
That's not fair.
Doesn't matter if it's good, right?
That's not fair.
As
Come
long
on.
as it's good, it doesn't matter. But you can't.
That is chili.
You can't all of a sudden it's like people say chicken chili is white. It's not.
You have to put in beef.
That's the definition of chili, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not. It is not.
Should we Google that?
No, meat.
We're gonna find out.
Any sort of meat.
I'll tell you what, man. This coming from the NBC Sports Network on Twitter. Coach K, quote, I'm not close to retiring.
Oh, bummer.
You were wrong.
Bummer. I tell you what, man. This Grayson Allen character from the Duke basketball team will be our next hated Duke player.
He is.
Won't he be?
The new Wojo.
He is absolutely the new Wojo.
I tell you what, man. Yoga is stretching. Glorified. Stop it, people.
Man, come on. Everything I do. See, now I'm yogoing.
I'm going rogue right now.
I'm yogoing and everything. How do you say that? Like, if you do yoga,
You're a yogi.
If you do yoga,
You're a yogi.
is that what they call people?
Yeah, they call you yogis.
If you are in the process of doing yoga and you used one word to describe it, you are what?
You can't do that.
Yoga-ing?
No, you're doing
Yoging?
yoga. You have to put something.
You're doing yoga. You have to use two words. You can't have one word?
It's not Madonna.
No, man, look, let me tell you something. I got the downward dog working.
Vegetable chili and yoga.
No, turkey.
I'm sorry.
Chili. I got turkey in it.
Chili, and
I got
yoga.
ground turkey.
I'm proud of you, but let's just.
It's 93% lean.
Oh, you're living in a phony world.
That's not even fair. Not even fair.
I'm still proud of you.
All right.
Proud.
I tell you what, man. I'd be less surprised if the Thunder got blown out by 20 or more tonight at home than I would be if the Thunder won by a point.
I'm gonna leave you to that.
I'll tell you what, man.
No.
It'd be a lot more impressive if Russell Westbrook gave that lady the car he actually drives.
This is true. That's so good.
That is not fair.
You can't just give away a free car and take all the pub.
I know, right?
Wait a minute. No,
To be fair,
that is not fair.
To be fair, Scott Brooks drew that play up for someone else to get the car, and Russell went off script and gave it to some other person.
That is not fair. You guys are being mean.
Hey, hold up. So if somebody gave you a Rolex and you wrapped it up as a gift and gave it to somebody else,
yes,
and they're like, "Oh my God,
yes,
Zach gave me a Rolex."
You made someone's day.
Well, you know what? You made someone's day, but you lied. You gave it in a false sense.
No, it was mine.
Go buy a car and give it to her. Don't
He
take the free
re-gifted.
gift.
He re-gifted.
You know
is
why
what he did. He just re-gifted.
Because he wouldn't be called dead in the Kia. That's why he did it. If Russell's in the Kia, he's dead in the backseat.
Somebody tries to do a good deed, and all you all do
I saw a headline that said,
No,
"You
no,
won't
that was
believe what Russell Westbrook did with his Kia," and I was like, "He drove it?
Yeah.
I want to see a picture."
That's exactly. That's been a Guinness Book of World Records 2016.
You come with material today? That's good. You had like 4 jokes on the Kia. That was good.
So good.
Like he drove it?
It'd be like seeing a dinosaur. Russell drive down the street, and the Kia's like seeing T-Rex.
He told
on the
that lady,
street.
"I'm giving you a Kia," and they're like, "Russ, she needs the keys." "No, I ain't passing."
Yeah.
They're like, "Russ, give her the keys." "No, I'm not passing. I don't pass."
Come on,
Just
man.
go stand in the corner. Go stand in the corner.
Stand in the corner.
You all are acting like he gave her a boggle, like a set of boggle.
Hey,
You
know
take
what?
it in
his
and throw
world
it
it
to me.
was.
That's right.
Yeah, but not in hers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different. Not in hers.
No, that's a good point, but still.
Don't be playing. No, don't go straight face on me.
Gonna get that
Don't
and
go
move
straight
on.
face.
Hey, well, Russell should have gave her that Phantom. Give
That's
her the
right.
Ferrari.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You drive the
drop
Kia
head
around.
Ghost. Give it a Ghost.
All right, let me ask you this.
So here's
What
the
if he
Kia.
bought the Kia, but it was still a Kia?
Then that's a gift from Russell, not a gift from the NBA.
Adam Silver should have been there handing her the keys.
Oh my God! I tell you what, man. OSU needs to go back to the old jerseys. Just saying, Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Basketball or football?
Basketball. Pull those old jerseys out, man, with the script cowboy on the front. Maybe you win. I think so. At least one, like an alternate. One game. Come on, Travis, make that happen.
Travis got to make a bunch happen.
Mike Holder, make that happen.
So let me ask you a question, Desmond. Did anybody call you last week and go, "Hey, would you like to donate to the Travis Ford Buyout Fund?"
Ooh, good question.
No way.
Would you tell us if they did?
No.
There you go. All right, let's go to the text line here real quick. 88474. Texter says, "I tell you what, man, those chicken McNuggets ain't chicken."
They're not. They're not.
I tell you what, man, Five Guys burgers are incredible. Are these people like trying to get like a shout out for their business? Is what?
Probably so.
Somebody just texted us and said if we need a good heating and air guy to call them, that's good, and gives us their number.
Free?
I don't know.
Free as me.
Yeah, I mean, come here and do it for free.
You're going to throw that on tweet.
We're more than
Twitter.
happy. Yeah, come in here and fix this
Tweet
place.
that coupon.
I tell you what, man, Texter says, Dirk Nowitzki looks like Captain Sig Hansen from The Deadliest Catch. Does he? I guess I can
He
see.
does. I see that.
A little
yeah.
bit. Yeah, a little bit.
I can see Dirk chain smoking and driving a crab boat.
Texter says, I tell you what, man, Sam's Little Caesars bacon commercial is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. We have to clip off just the first part where he is like, he does a little bacon rap. Have you heard that? Doesn't he's like, bacon, bubba, bacon. Whoa, where'd that come from, Sam? Like, hello.
Bacon,
time off.
Bubba, bacon.
Yeah, there it is. Clip that off. Put that in our sound library, please.
Bacon. Bubba bacon.
Yes.
Bubba bacon.
I tell you what, man, Texter says, if everyone on the Thunder squad can get healthy next season, is going to be spectacular.
A lot of stress next season.
It will be a stressful season.
Yeah, it'll be very stressful for everybody.
They got to get rid of Lamb and Perry Jones, right? Like, that's the end, right?
I would think so.
There's going to be no room on that bench. There's going to be none if everybody gets healthy. I tell you what, man, I wouldn't have passed Algebra 2 if it wasn't for Todd. That comes from Todd's classmate, RJ.
No, not a classmate.
Oh, not a classmate.
No, I actually did an extended substitute teaching gig out there for 3 months.
Did you really?
How did that work out?
Yeah, taught that kid more math in 3 months than he learned in 11 and a half years.
Let's not give yourself too much credit.
That was a big pat on the back.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Don't hurt yourself.
You know, I did pick Duke to win the national championship.
Yeah, that's right. He's told everybody that today,
in
too.
December.
I heard that 3 times on the way over here.
I picked him
4 months ago.
Jerry on Twitter, own Jerry Ramsey at TV's Jerry. I tell you what, man, my wife is rooting for the Pelicans to get the 8th spot.
Ooh.
Nights at home. Hashtag honeydew. Yeah, he does the post game. Secretly, Desmond is wishing for the same thing.
No,
I'll tell you what, man. Did you read the one about Les Miles?
No.
I'll tell you what, man. Les Miles looks like a man baby.
A man baby.
Benjamin Button.
I'll tell you what, man. Grayson Allen has the most Duke-sounding name and the most Duke-looking face of any Duke player in the history.
You must have missed that one when people were in there. I was like, he's going to be the new hated Duke player.
I got you.
Yeah.
The new hated Duke player
Wojo,
for sure.
Man. He the new Wojo.
He sounds like a lacrosse player, Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen.
Reagan on Twitter. Now people are jumping into your boat here. Reagan on Twitter. I guess it was yours, Todd.
Todd's boat. I just jumped in myself.
Westbrick. That's the first word. What? I didn't say that. That's from Reagan on Twitter.
I didn't say it either, people.
Westbrick giving that car away is like me giving away a Big Mac I won from McDonald's Monopoly game.
That's so true. And it's West Buckets, by the way, buddy. Man, a walking triple-double.
Look at you trying to put lipstick on the pig there.
Hey,
Look
you know
at
what?
you. Like, wait a minute, guy.
Hey.
I know he gave away a car that's not cool to me,
People do
but his name is West Bucket.
People show pigs, especially in Oklahoma. Pig show and put some lipstick on that thing.
I'll tell you what, man. Westbrook this year has given away one car in like 4 or 5 games.
You need to stop. That's not very nice. We need to go.
Hey, you know, it's all in good fun. Everybody knows that what Russell did was
Of
honest and
course.
true for
Look
him.
at you all trying to cover your tracks.
Honest and true for him. Hey, I'm just.
Look, there are a lot of
fun.
guys in Russell's situation that didn't give that car away.
Yeah.
Even though it was free, or gave it to someone that didn't need it.
Hey,
I'd like to see you guys not accept it if you guys are so like. Well,
I couldn't fit it.
You
So I
are-
probably wouldn't have to-
I couldn't fit in it either.
Desmond's not going to accept the Kia, but us.
You know,
Us
Desmond
poor
would,
men.
Desmond would get it and he'd paint it.
I'd
That's
be,
what he would do.
I'd be like, Russell, I appreciate it, but I can't take
Ooh,
this, man.
you would paint it. Actually, that would probably work out.
Russ, I can't take this, Russ.
Actually, he wouldn't do that either. Des would be like, I'm not painting a Kia.
Oh, that's so wrong. Hey, I would do it. If I was in Russell's shoes, I would do it. I was just never in his shoes. But if I was in his shoes, I would do it. What about Blake Griffin? You should be giving away 10 Kias a month. All them damn
Oh, yeah, all those Kia commercials.
Maybe he
Come on,
is.
man.
Maybe we just don't know about it.
I've got no problem with Kias. You guys are.
You know what? Maybe.
I'm not jumping in your all's boat today.
Yeah, I'll take a new Kia
I won't
anytime.
have it. I am not going to put up with
Oh,
this.
my sister on Twitter, and she's exactly right. I'll tell you what, man. Russell Westbrook looks like Ducky from The Land Before Time. He does. He looks like Ducky. And I imagine now every time Russell
Russ,
Westbrook
I have
talks,
nothing to do with this, Russell.
right before he says anything of importance,
Yeah,
he goes,
I'm not-
yep.
Russ, I got nothing to do with this. This is all Todd.
Oh, yeah. Like you haven't taken your shots already this morning.
Well, I don't take that many shots.
Yeah, you didn't laugh at all when someone called him West Brick.
I said West Buckets.
Yeah, cover it up, right. Baby, cover it up.
Yeah, I'm never running.
I feel like today our show has been like a flower that it blossomed
at
the
like
correct time.
A golden flower. That's right, blossoming. Oh, by the way, Texter would like me to add to you from earlier today, and let me make sure I get this right. You just gonna let Dez off the hook with saying that he had an agent in college? Well, Dez,
I never had an agent in college.
Liar!
I swear that I put that on everything. And again, let's just be clear.
Well, you didn't sign.
My agent.
You had one. You didn't sign.
No,
come on.
I never had an agent in college. No, my agent didn't become an agent until the end of the 2000 college season. Did not have one player, and had signed. He was the only guy that was running a new basketball section of an agency that only had like 10 guys. So believe me, there was no benefit to me having an agent in college. I was his first player.
Really?
Yep. I was his first player.
Did you have him your whole career?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. He still works for me now.
Oh, well, then that turned out all right.
Absolutely, it did.
All right. Good talking to you,
No
man.
cheaters here.
Thanks for coming on.
No, it's good stuff.
We are late. Our boss is going to fire us right after the show.
Fault.
Our final hour on the air before our firing. Next.